Champions Mojo is part of the CG Sports Network.
Welcome to the award-winning Champions Mojo, hosted by two world record-holding athletes and health, life, and leadership coaches. Be inspired as you listen to Conversations with Champions. And now, your hosts, Kelly Pallas and Maria Parker.
Hello, friends. Welcome to the Champions Mojo podcast. And I am with Maria Parker, who is a leader. Hello, Maria.
Hi, I'm a leader, and I learned a lot of leadership from my dear sister-in-law, Kelly. I'm so glad to be with you today, Kelly, and so excited.
Yes, we will. It's very exciting. We are going to talk about leadership today. And we may or may not name this show, Are You a Leader? But we are going to talk about things that can make you a better leader, whether you're leading a big organization, leading your family, or just leading truly your dog around the neighborhood. So,
or leading yourself, which is
of course,
right.
leading.
I
yourself.
love that concept, though, Kelly. You introduced that to me. I think we can talk about this later, shy away from that concept of leadership. We don't think of ourselves as natural leaders, but we all have to lead ourselves. So.
Yes. And that is the title of the book that just came out, which I'm going to hold up here.
Yes.
It's called Take Your Mark, Lead 10 Ways to Lead Yourself and Others Like a Champion. So unless you've been hiding in a hole, if you're one of our listeners, you know about this book. It's been out. We just did a little preview show on it. But this is truly
it's a great book.
It's almost 300 pages. And the one thing that, I want to say about this book is it's not just fluff. It's not just, this is what Kelly thinks. It's got 40 pages of a bibliography. So there's science behind the things that we are going to talk about today and what we're asking people to do to be leaders. And it's got a lot of cool stories that, about the book if you've been listening, but hopefully it's something fun to read that will make you a better leader as in your life, leading yourself or leading others. So we're going to just start with the 10 chapters of the book, but really quickly touch on them because Maria, do you want to talk about personas? Because when we went through training as coaches, it was so important to be that person.
Right. So the great thing about your book, Kelly, and I just will add that Kelly has done the research for you. This book is a great bedside thing. I'm going to, I've ordered it. I don't have the hard copy yet, but I'm going to keep it right next to my bedside and underline things. And I've already read it and loved it. So, so the way Kelly's has structured the book is she's created personas that are aspects of leadership. And so we're going to talk about each of those personas, and persona is just a way to step into something that maybe you don't think of yourself as. And so, I love this concept. For me, I struggle with imposter syndrome. And so I love the concept of persona because I can step into a persona and be that person in the persona. And then eventually that becomes hardwired into who I am.
Yeah. And that's the whole kind of thought behind the book of these chapters is, can you be this person? Can you be that kind of person that, is disciplined, that does have great habits, that does celebrate success? So
yeah.
We're just going to leap right into the first one that I think is really important of being an eager leader. And being an eager leader can mean just seeing a need and filling it, just saying, boy, that needs to be done. And that can be anywhere from my favorite thing that I learned out of Pfizer was a true leader has vision and urgency. Mm-hmm. So leadership equals vision and urgency. So when you see something that needs doing, you do it. And you're kind of, you spot it quicker, you're eager to do it. And then you have to put away perfection. So again, one of my favorite quotes, it's not in the book because there were a lot of quotes in the book that, I'm a big person on quotes, but my favorite quote is from General Patton, who is, it's better to execute a good plan than to never execute the perfect plan. So if you're kind of on that fence, should I do this? Should I do that? Then it's seeing a need and filling it. And an example would be if you're in an organization and everybody's talking about, boy, we need to change the way that we're doing X, but nobody's really doing it, then maybe just start doing X yourself. And then people will watch you, and then you will be leading that because you're just doing X.
Yeah.
So
I love that. There is two parts of it, which you both described, just both of them. One is recognizing, having you're being the kind of person who, and this is a persona, I'm going to be the kind of person who looks around and looks for opportunity to lead. And the second part is just doing it, which is scary, just getting started, just throwing yourself into it.
And I think that General Patton quote kind of takes away the pressure of, you don't have to be perfect, just do it.
Yeah, I think a lot of us have perfection paralysis, and anyway, so great. All right, second thing, target maker. And I love this. This is just about setting goals. And Kelly, actually, you taught me about this many, many years ago. I always sort of knew about setting goals, but you helped me set concrete goals and break them down into actionable steps, and taught me all about, SMART goals and all that. But the point is, you just have to have, you got to have a target, and you got to be the kind of person who, again, be the kind of person who sets goals. And sometimes we can be afraid to set goals because we don't want to fail ourselves or others. But like the eager leader thing, it's like, it's better to just try something and fail than never to try at all. And so, of course, I have set many, many, many goals in my life, many of which I have not accomplished, but I've set enough so that I've got a nice bibliography of goals that I have accomplished. Of course, finishing Race Across America was one of them. But in my business, I have a goal that I have been working on for 5 years. And I mean, I'm just making my way towards it. I'm inching my way towards it. One of the things about Target Maker that you put, that's in the book, and this is really, really important, is it's good to have big, hairy goals, but it's also good to break those down. And you go into detail in the book, so I don't want to give it all away, but read the section on goal setting. It's excellent.
Thanks, Maria. Yeah, like leaders have targets. We just do. Right. You have a target for your family. You have targets for your organization. Right. You have targets for your team, and importantly, you have targets for yourself. Right. And I really think that is, it's kind of an obvious one, but it's one that you've got to put in your toolkit as a leader. This next one, which is a vibrant visionary, again, leaders have a vision. That part of the leadership quotient that I learned in Pfizer, which was vision and leadership are what urgency and vision make leadership. So right. You've got to have that vision, but it takes it a step further where you really have to see that vision. You have to taste it, smell it, do vision boards, really kind of, and whether you're doing that for yourself, Mark, you've been to our house many times, Maria, and Mark and I have these beautiful vision boards, which there's detailed on how to create vision boards in the book. But just individually, you can have these great goals, but also for your company. What can you put out there for your team, your work team, your family, that's like a vision? And I think that's a huge part of leading yourself and leading others. Absolutely.
And really, this is just encouragement, right? The vision boards are so great. And you, again, taught me about vision boards, and this, using all 4 senses, all 5 senses to imagine yourself having, gotten to whatever it is. But also you have personally, and you can be this person for yourself and you can be it for others. You can encourage people. And you've been that person in my life, and as well as other people's, like helping me see a vision for myself, for my company, for my future. You almost every conversation we have, you say, how can I help you? And then you help me create a vision for the future that I can then drive towards. So if you can't do it for yourself, and enlist people around you to help you, it's like, help me see where I'm going. So I love the visionary, the vibrant visionary. And again, I'm getting better at this, and I want to step into this persona, but this isn't something that I'm naturally good at. So Maria, let me ask you, what right now ignites you? Like, what is something that you would like to see on your vision board that's the picture? I know, I can think of one. Oh, well, I mean, I've got different visions for different areas of my life, but I've got a beautiful house I'm building right now. And so I have I actually don't have a vision board. You've offered to help me make one, and I haven't done it, but my vision for the house is coming. I'm working on it every single day, but I've got a vision for it. Yeah. So finishing my new house that I'm about to move into, but also I'm getting ready to do a beautiful long bike ride on the Blue Ridge Parkway. And I've got that clearly envisioned, the wildflowers, that, cycling up the hill. And that's motivating me now as I prepare for it by cycling and doing other things. So yeah. What about you, Kelly? What's your, I mean, is it about around your book?
Oh, yeah, definitely right now. My vision is that I'm going to open my emails. Well, that people are going to say this book is helping me. That's really, I don't care if it's a bestseller. I just want it to impact people, and I want
it will,
to make people be better.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
But in talking about really having a vision for others, that is huge. That will take your organization, your family, your work team to the next level when you can articulate that. And I tell a couple of little stories in the book, a couple of my own, couple of other, champions in the book. But I just remember swim coaches, just the one little statement that a swim coach would make to me, like, wow, Kelly, you have a world-class freestyle.
Yeah.
That's a vision. That's putting a vision in my head. Wow, I have a world-class freestyle.
Right.
So, it's leading yourself and it's leading others with that vision. So Maria, now the one that everybody is going to love is developing discipline. So the discipline developer.
Yeah. Yeah. I think
because you're so good at this. When I think of somebody with discipline, I think of a woman that rode 3,000 miles on her bike across the country in 11 days.
Thank you. So
tell us.
I hate the word discipline because I think it has negative connotations in our culture, but discipline is freedom. So I would say this is, if you have discipline, you have freedom. And yeah, I mean, I'm not disciplined in every aspect of my life, but I am a disciplined person. I actually learned it from my wonderful father, who's one of the most disciplined people I've ever met. And discipline, as I said, it's a freedom. If you can put some things in your life that you don't have to think about, because they're part of, it's kind of like habit, but they're part of who you are, then discipline gives you freedom. So, but there's so many aspects to discipline, but it's a muscle that you grow. And one of the ways you can grow it is by starting your day off with, and this is in the book, you start your day off with something hard. And that, that doesn't have to be, getting up and running 10 miles, but it can be. I usually get up and do exercise. And then when that's done, it's like, even if nothing else goes right today, I can say I had a good day. So other things are just do hard things, I read an article in the paper, and you'd already told me about it, but about, this idea of, and it's in the book, about taking a cold shower, which I know this sounds unattractive, but I'm telling you, this is life-changing. So there's this concept of, just taking a cold shower. And anyway, I read this article in a newspaper about this father and son who, for the year of the pandemic, decided they were just going to jump in a cold pool every single day. And it was such a great example. This father teaching the son, it was like, they dreaded it. They didn't want to do it. They talked about how they didn't want to do it, and then they did it anyway. And the bonding experience and just the sense of power that you have when you overcome your resistance to difficult things. So I just, of course you have to develop this in yourself, and then you can help your team, the people that you're leading, by example, and also just encouragement to help them to develop discipline.
Yeah, Maria, you're great at discipline, and absolutely, truly, it makes so much difference when you do something difficult in the morning. You get it done. Like, so in case anybody's looking at me thinking, wow, Kelly looks a little sleepy or a little tired or whatever. I'm 24 hours after my second COVID shot.
Yeah.
And so I've had a little immune response. So I have a pounding headache right now. And,
poor baby.
and I'm aching, but I got up this morning and I did my swim workout. I did a really hard swim workout.
Good for you.
Yeah. And I thought, at least if I do have a reaction to the shot, and I wasn't expecting it because Mark had it, most people don't. I mean, it's like, I guess 90% of the people that take the shot don't get a reaction. So it's rare, but I do have a really active immune system. I have autoimmune issues from eczema and allergies and all that. So I'm having a little reaction, but I got that done first. And now I don't have to think about, okay, I could sleep for the rest of the day, which I feel like doing.
Yeah.
But so
It's another
discipline
thing. You
is so
got
important.
yourself up to record this podcast,
Yeah,
and you
this is
really
a
don't feel like it.
discipline.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a discipline which we all do things when we have migraines or headaches or
But the more you do
yeah.
hard things, the better you
Yeah.
are at doing hard things.
Yes.
And the more power you feel. It's wonderful to develop discipline in your life. It's, it's that old thing. What's the first thing you do? Get up and make your bed.
Yes.
It's so anyway. Okay,
So
Kelly.
so the next one I love. It's the chapter if you're going through something tough that you persist. And it's the passionate persister. And I open this chapter with Jim Valvano, who started he's the great NC State basketball coach who won the national title in 1983. It's a long time ago, but he's still very famous because he started the Jimmy V Foundation, or the V Foundation for Cancer, and he just never, ever, ever give up. And how do you do that? Okay, so there are 8 tools for not giving up, for persisting. And I wrote these a lot from a pain perspective, because I feel like a lot of us, pain is just part of, and I don't mean necessarily a headache, but just the pain of getting through hard seasons in your life, times where you're having to work double shifts, or you're having to do extra things, like when you've got young kids, or times when you just, gosh, is this time ever going to end?
Mhm.
And my particular, going through topical steroid withdrawal syndrome was really hard. So I've got these 8 things in the book, and I would say that the major one, we hope that you'll read all of it, but the one that I really have to say is absolutely the most important one in persisting through anything is staying in the present moment. That is the one. And that's when, Maria, you and I, as endurance athletes and people who've gone through a lot of tough things, is just staying in the moment, just saying, right now, I'm okay.
Yeah.
Right now, my head is hurting, but I'm okay. I'm enjoying our conversation, and I'm hopefully reaching people and they hear this, but it's just this moment. And you know what? Maybe in 5 minutes, my headache will be gone.
Yeah.
Or I'm working with a surgeon right now who's opening a big surgery center, and he's got a lot on his plate right now for the next 6 weeks. And we talked this morning about just he's in this trough. He's got a lot of work that he's doing. And, we broke it down into saying, this is just a season. This is not, you're not always going to be opening a surgery center. It's just right now. So let's use all the techniques that we know of visualizing. Wow, what's it going to be like? What are you going to reward yourself with when you're done? And he came up with an amazing reward, which, when we're adults, we've kind of had all the electric toenail trimmers, and we don't need anything. It's hard. Kids want the BB gun or the doll, but as adults, it's kind of hard to find that. So let's not get into that till we get to Success Celebrator, but just stay in the present moment. And Maria, what is your number one thing? Because I just took your number one thing, but what is it for you when you're on that bike, or you're just in this really hard place right now? You have a lot on your plate too. So what are you going to tell people that are just, you're traveling all over, you're heading out to LA, you're building your house, you're a grandmother, you're a CEO of your business, you're my podcast co-host. How are you doing it? How are you persisting passionately?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just what you said, basically. And I can remember having this conversation with my sister when she had brain cancer. So much, gets dumped on you when you get a diagnosis like that. And we just talked about, you can't see the whole thing. You can't embrace the whole thing. So you just do the very next thing. And persistence is just doing the very next thing again and again and again and again and again. It's like you said, it's staying in the moment. It's not worrying about all of the stuff. It's just saying, okay, what's the next thing? And, the next thing might just be putting your feet on the floor, and whatever. So, that's for me, if I feel overwhelmed and I want, I want to think of myself, I want to step, a lot of people don't think of themselves as persistent. And again, this is a persona you can step into. You can become a passionate persister, and you can just repeat to yourself, oh, I am persistent, but that just means I am just going to keep moving. I'm just going to keep moving. So
All
Okay,
right,
so
Maria. So habit
next
hacker.
one, habit hacker.
We
This
probably
one,
should speed this up.
yeah. We're taking
More.
too long. We're taking too long. Yeah, because you can read the book and should read the book. This chapter of your book is the one I underline the most. It's so motivating to me. So one of the, I'm just going to say it really quickly. As a leader, a great habit you can develop is to learn from other leaders and learn from other people and be humble and always be looking for people to learn from, personas to step into, people you admire. And also just, you can change who you are by changing your habits. You can quit bad habits. You can start new habits. All the science is there. It's not that hard. Read the chapter. And if you want to have a new habits, just start it. Just do it. So, okay, next one. Peak performer, Kelly.
Peak performer. Peak performance is, that's what we're really all striving for. Like, and you can have that peak performance during the entire, all of this. So as a leader, you can have a peak performance with your team, you can be a peak performer in being an eager leader and being a habit hacker and being a discipline developer and being a vibrant visionary. So you can have all those peak performance during that. So peak performance is using a strong mindset to say, I'm going to give this my best, but also very, very importantly, focusing on only the things that you can control and being like in the peak performer section. My favorite part of the book in this peak performer section is the white ball, brown glove story of Dan Plesac, who's a Major League Baseball player for decades and, an all-star. And he would trot out of Yankee Stadium out of the bullpen with the bases loaded and 2 outs and the crowd, hanging from the rafters, and so much pressure there. And so the pressure is the big thing that as peak performers, we do have pressure. And so he would just concentrate on that little thing that he could control, which was putting the white ball into the brown glove. And also with peak performance, these would be the 2 biggest takeaways, is that being in a pressure performance situation is a privilege. I mean, that's the quote that leads off the chapter. Billie Jean King says, having pressure is a privilege because it means that you've gotten your performance to a certain point that people have an expectation of you. And so that's beautiful. That means, wow, you are a peak performer. Yeah. And you think of, attorneys in court, or you think of a singer on the middle of the stage. So just own that peak, that, say it to yourself, I am a peak performer.
Yeah, I like that. And I think that there are times for those, but that's, and that's, like you said, that's when you're gathering all your leader qualities in one shining moment, but you're not always peaking. So that's good. The next one is confidence carrier. And this is a great one. Again, these are personas. You can step into them. This is a weakness for me. I'm working on it. I want to be confident in what I do. I want to talk confidently, not with hubris, but just with confidence. And one of the ways you can do this, we before every podcast, we do this little power pose where we lift our arms in the air and we open our chests and we remind ourselves that what we're doing is fun, exciting, and that we're, serving others. We try to be serving others. And so part of confidence is holding yourself confidently. And the other section is just owning it, owning what you do, reminding yourself of who you are, as, as our parents say, I think that was one of the things my mom used to say, if we would go off, to remember who you are, so if I have to remind myself of who I am to be a confidence carrier. Another great section. And Kelly, you're next. Reflective thinker.
Reflective thinker. So leaders and anyone who wants to be successful, and this is a really hard one. This is like, I think this is kind of an under talked about one where you silently sit and look back and look forward. You're reflecting on, what did I do? Where have I been? What can I do better? And it was Josh Pernot who we interviewed, who really talked about looking at the, after each practice, what did I do here? What can I do to improve? I loved that. And we haven't heard that from a lot of champions, but it is a trait of leaders that you're really reflective thinking. And I don't think we mentioned this in our intro to the book, but for those of you that didn't know, there's a really interesting story about how I ended up in Playboy magazine. And that's my reflection. And I reflect on it in about a 2,000 word story of how I ended up in Playboy with the best intentions, with being a champion of a cause.
Yeah.
And I never reflected on that story for decades. I just kind of hid it as something that I didn't want to deal with. I didn't want to think about how that happened or why it happened. So reflective thinking, being a reflective thinker, is a trait of leaders.
And you're so right. That's maybe the hardest thing, isn't it? Because we can tend to trash ourselves, and that's not what this is about. This is about just open-mindedly, lovingly recalling, and thinking about your practice, your past, what you did, how you could have handled something differently or better, or leading to the next thing, which is celebrating your success, which is sort of an aspect
Maria,
of
before we go on to that,
okay.
I wanted to drill down on reflective thinkers and how that really can tie into leadership is when you reflect on things that you've done, and especially as you get more experience in life, which leaders tend to have, is you can share your story and prevent others from either going down that path. My husband and I were talking about terrible leaders, and we're like, gosh, maybe that's a book, Bad Leaders, because sometimes seeing a bad leader makes you think, okay, they're going in that direction, I want to go in this direction. But my Playboy story is a cautionary tale. I tell that tale for young women to read it. And well, anybody can read it and get it, but reflecting makes you understand cautionary tales and how you can help others, and then plan for future. So anyway, yes, but let's celebrate
So
success.
what you're saying, there is two aspects of it. There's what have I done, and then what have others done. Reflection just means being observant about the past and not just stumbling forward without thinking about things.
Right.
It's really excellent. So then the last one, and this one is something, again, that is not natural for me, but I love the concept of success celebrating. I am becoming a success celebrator. And it's part of reflection, because you look back and you say, yeah, I did that. That went well. I could have done that better, but that went well. When you celebrate your successes, Lewis Pugh called it stacking. You have confidence because, I did this, and then I did that, and I did that, and I did that. And now, with all that, I can do this. It gives you confidence. I love, because a lot of us who are ambitious and natural leaders can tend to just be very driven, and that can keep you from celebrating your successes. So you and I have worked on this lately. It's like, we can, like if we don't feel like our podcast is doing that great or whatever, we can forget to say, oh, well, look how far we've come, and look what we've done. And this is happening in my business, in my fitness, in my family, even in my own behavior. I want to celebrate, in this area, I have improved. I'm not cussing quite as much.
Yeah.
So anyway, success celebrator is so important, and I think an under discussed things. So, but all this stuff is in the book, in detail, every step you can learn step by step how to become lead yourself and others. It's a great book. Be sure to get it.
Oh, Maria, thank you. And this really wasn't an ad for the book. I hope that people will take away that none of these personas exist independently. They're all there. So you're an eager leader, you're a target maker, vibrant visionary, disciplined developer, passionate persister, habit hacker, peak performer, confidence carrier, reflective thinker, and a success celebrator. And all of those, they marry together. And so, but the real difference in just listening to this podcast, the best part of the book for me is the stories. And it's not just my stories, it's stories from Lewis Pugh and David Marsh and Jack Bowerly and, Dan Plezak and Leah Smith and, just Ray Luz and Matt Biondi and you and, breast cancer survivors. So it's really, when you tell a story, you understand it more. And we don't have time in the podcast to tell a bunch of stories, but that's what I hope people will get mostly from the book is, wow, I learned something, but gosh, that was an interesting story.
Yeah. There's lots of fun fun and
All right,
illustrative
so,
stories there.
Maria, it's now time for the takeaways. Maria, you and I have heard the takeaways are the best part of the show.
That's right, Kelly, because the takeaways are curated information, which is what we give to our clients when we coach them.
If you would like to take your performance to the next level in health, life, or leadership, go to our website and schedule your free 30-minute consultation.
Yes, just click on our coaching page and book there. We're looking forward to bringing out the champion in you.
And now, the takeaways. What would your takeaway from this Are You a Leader? Oh, yeah, Are You a Leader show? And what are you going to walk out of here with?
Well, I'm most at this moment inspired by wanting to step more into the persona of becoming a reflective thinker. It's so, again, like, I tend to just look forward and run forward, and I want to be reflective. And I think in the past, my lack of confidence has made me afraid. And so now that I'm, maturing in other ways, I want to look back with compassion on what I've done and what others have done and think about what I can learn from them. What about you, Kelly?
I think mine is always the passionate persister. Like, I really just like to keep grinding on that. And, one of the things that is in the book is I talk about how winners quit and quitters win. So
Yes.
sometimes you don't want to persist if you're
Right.
doing the wrong thing.
Right.
So I write in the book, Maria has almost never quit anything in her life. And
A few
I've quit
things.
almost like many things. So I want to just make myself more accountable for, am I quitting something because it's not going well? And we talk about the mindset of a fixed mindset or a growth mindset. And so I think I just want to keep drilling down on what do I need to persist on and what do I need to let go of? So that's
I love that.
That's my takeaway. So,
Okay.
All right, Maria, thanks for hanging in there with me. My headache's a little bit better. So
I'm so sorry. Yeah,
that's
but
it's just part of it.
soon you'll be
It'll go
immune
away.
to this horrible bug and feel free again.
Yep. All right.
All right.
Thank
Love
you.
you,
I love
Kelly.
you so much.
Alrighty. Bye-bye.
Bye.
You've been listening to the Champions Mojo podcast with host Kelly Palace and Maria Parker. Champions Mojo is produced by Cabra Media, and a new episode debuts every Tuesday. Subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts and leave us a 5-star review. Follow Champions Mojo on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook @Champions Mojo.